welcome to the Explainer. Right now, as we speak, there are literally millions of miles of invisible natural gas pipelines running directly beneath our streets. They're heating our homes, cooking our food, and powering our industries. But as you can probably imagine, managing this massive, totally hidden infrastructure is a monumental, incredibly high-stakes task. So I want you to think about this for a second. What happens when that invisible infrastructure fails? When these systems break down, it isn't just a matter of a chilly night without heat. We're talking about critical, immediate threats to human lives, catastrophic property damage, and massive environmental fallout. In today's Explainer, we're going to dive into exactly how utilities are evaluated on their ability to prevent these disasters before they ever happen. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the hidden infrastructure risks, move into cultivating a safety culture, and then cover qualifying pipeline operators. After that, we'll tackle harmful gas emissions and finally wrap up with the financial upside of integrity. All right, let's jump right into part one, the hidden infrastructure risks and the real threats lying right beneath our feet. Gas utilities have to manage this terrifying web of dual threats every single day. On the safety side, you've got aging pipes in densely populated cities carrying the severe risk of fires and explosions. Then, on the environmental side, leaky infrastructure results in fugitive greenhouse gas emissions, particularly methane, which, as we know, is a massive driver of climate change. And of course, when these physical and environmental risks actually materialize, they immediately trigger severe corporate risks. We're talking fatalities, massive negligence claims, costly court battles, and huge regulatory fines. Now, you might be wondering, how do investors and regulators actually track how well utilities manage these massive threats? Well, they turn to the SASB standards. Issued by the International Sustainability Standards Board, this framework essentially demands absolute transparency. It requires utilities to provide a qualitative overview detailing exactly how they manage the integrity of their gas delivery infrastructure. This is basically the ultimate tool for proving that a utility isn't just sitting back and reacting to disasters, but is actively working to prevent them. Which brings us perfectly to our second section, cultivating a safety culture and building that safety from the ground up. Safety absolutely cannot be an afterthought here. Utilities are required to weave emergency preparedness directly into a project's DNA right from day one. That means from the very initial blueprints all the way through construction, during every single day of operation and maintenance, and right up to the final decommissioning of the pipe. It is all about continuous training, constant oversight, and really strict guidelines for communicating risks at every stage of the life cycle. And while general safety is obviously crucial, the standard asks utilities to be hyper-specific about operations in what they call high-consequence areas. Think of a pipeline running straight under a busy downtown metro area, or maybe a protected river. Utilities have to explicitly outline their systems to avoid and manage accidents in these specific areas. Because let's face it, an incident here wouldn't just be a minor operational hiccup. It would be absolutely catastrophic for the local community. Let's move along to Section 3 and see how this all connects to the human element, qualifying the pipeline operators. You can have the best, most advanced pipes in the world, but if the people actually handling them make a mistake, the whole system goes down. So the regulatory framework focuses heavily on something called a covered task. Basically, a covered task is an operations or maintenance activity performed on a pipeline that is required for regulatory compliance and directly affects how the pipeline operates. We're talking about zero margin for error jobs here, things like welding a high-pressure joint or calibrating a critical relief valve. Because these tasks are so sensitive, utilities have to maintain what is essentially a zero-trust environment. A qualified operator is someone who's been formally evaluated to instantly recognize and react to hazards. Meanwhile, an unqualified worker can literally never act alone. They must be rigorously supervised by a certified operator at all times when doing a covered task. Utilities actually have to report on how they maintain these qualifications to ensure they always have enough certified operators on hand to keep the community safe. That takes us right into Section 4, tackling harmful gas emissions, where we look at how utilities hunt down invisible gas. Tracking these gas emissions is kind of like a high-stakes detective story, and utilities have to report on two very distinct culprits. First up, we have fugitive emissions. These are the unintended leaks or irregular releases of natural gas, again, primarily methane, that are just seeping out of aging infrastructure. Second, we have process emissions. Now, these are actually intentional releases of natural gas. Well, intentional in the sense that they're a resulting part of standard, everyday operations. Utilities have to prove they have a tight grip on both the accidental leaks and the operational venting. And utilities can't just promise to do better. They've got to show their math. This means setting hard, clear reduction targets for both fugitive and process emissions. They have to prove exactly what technology they're using to accurately sniff out leaks and essentially open their books on the capital investments required to fix them. They also have to honestly identify any risks or limiting factors that might totally derail those targets. It's all about total, unfiltered transparency in the fight against climate warming emissions. Finally, we reach Section 5, the financial upside of integrity. This is where we completely flip the script on risk. So investing in safety isn't just some sunk cost, it actually generates tremendous financial upside. By managing risk effectively, utilities build immense trust with local communities and, crucially, with their regulators. Plus, replacing old, leaky pipes actually allows them to expand their approved rate-based capital investments, which generates better financial returns. Running a tight operation can even reduce customer rates over time, all while practically eliminating the looming threat of massive civil fines, legal settlements, and compliance penalties. Basically, good safety is just good business. To really hammer home their commitment, utilities can report on a few extra qualitative metrics to prove their integrity. For instance, they might disclose their pipeline replacement rates, showing exactly how fast they are swapping out those brittle, old cast iron pipes for much safer polyethylene ones. They can report their average response time to gas emergencies to show how fast they mobilize when things inevitably go wrong. They might track how quickly they repair hazardous mid-level leaks and highlight their active participation in third-party industry best practices. The whole point is to demonstrate a proactive rather than reactive stance on infrastructure integrity. Which leaves us with a final vital question. Is your local utility proactively protecting your neighborhood, or are they just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best? Next time you turn on your stove or hear your heat kick in, just remember the incredible, high-stakes management happening right beneath your feet to keep you safe and to protect our environment. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.